So let me chant a mantra and then we start. Okay? Om Poornamada Poornamidam Poornat Poornamadupchate Poornasya Poornamataya Poornameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are here for a workshop and we have 3 days, 3 full days. Today, I'm sure many of you have also registered for Kriya. How many? Lots of people. Yeah, so you're expecting to have Kriya, right? Okay. So we have to orient the program accordingly. Today, I would go into the general understanding of what we are trying to do. And then I'll go into a clarification on why you need Kriya or why you don't need Kriya. And then we will go slowly into Kriya for those who are interested in Kriya. Is that fine? Does that sound good? Okay. So, today I started with a mantra which is, you would have noticed that all the 3 verses of the mantra had one word common, and that word was Poorna. Poorna. Poornam ada, Poornam idam, Poornat Poornamaduchyate, Poornasya Poornamataya Poornameva Vasishyate. So, what is this Poorna? Translated, it would mean completeness, or in a synonym would be fullness, completeness, fullness. So the Upanishad begins with the statement that the origin of all things, the source from which we have all come, this entire universe, the cosmos, is by nature Poorna, complete. And so what? If the source from which we have come, or the source of the cosmos is completeness, what does it matter to us? So, the next statement is Poornam idam. This which has come from that is also complete. Unfortunately, in our daily life, we see that it is incomplete, not full, empty. The whole process of existence, the whole process of evolution, the whole process of life is you and I trying to become complete, trying to fulfill, trying to grow, trying to expand. Why? Because we don't see the fullness in us. The Upanishad says the source is full. It also says Poornamidam, this is also full. That which has come from that source is also full. We don't seem to see it or understand or experience it because we are always empty. I mean, when I say empty, well, we have something. We need more things to fill the gap, fill the emptiness. The whole moment of life and evolution is how to become complete. Why? Because even though we don't realize it, at the back of our mind somewhere, we know that we have come from that which is complete, and in essence we are complete, and therefore all we do is try to attain that completeness. The only thing is the direction in which we try to achieve this completeness is wrong from our point of view. Maybe right from our point. One looks for completeness in the outside world, while the rishis say, turn within, turn inward, and you find your completeness inside. what you are looking for outside, which is all right, legitimate, because the subconscious is always trying to find the source, which is fullness. Because it realizes that it is not full. You see, practical examples. I'm alone. I'm young. I'm happy in some way. I'm all right. Then I think, no, this is not enough. I need to expand my happiness, complete my happiness. So what do? I find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Yeah, we are happy for some time, then the tension starts. I'm not saying you shouldn't find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. What am I trying to do? To get peace, to get happiness, to fulfill myself. Yeah, fulfill for a while, but after that, you must remember I'm a married man and this might be seen by my wife. So all I was saying was that, so I think, oh, I'm single, I'm happy, I can add to my happiness if I have a partner, let's not say wife, partner, and it works for some time. And then there are two ways. Some people get so fed up they want to get rid of it. Some people want more excitement, so add one more. It goes on and on. But there is no sign of completeness. I have a car, I'm happy, but then my neighbor has a bigger car, so I buy a bigger car. And then I buy one more car. And then I buy a Tesla. And then it goes on and on. Non-stop. Tomorrow you might get a car powered by nuclear energy, so you buy that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing any of these things. I'm only saying this seems to be an endless race. This much to this much to this much. It seems to be unending. And we don't seem to find the completeness that we seek. If something is complete, something else is incomplete. If I think I'm happy in Barcelona, then I find I need to go to India. You see how things happen. So, considering all this, the rishis, the ancient scientists who went into the question of the mind and what is beyond the mind, said that perhaps the direction in which we seek this completeness is in the wrong direction. Could be that you turn back within yourself and find the source of this completeness from which we have come, which is the origin of everything. And so the journey into completeness started from there. This journey is the search. In India we had a great saint, a yogi, who was also a weaver. You know what's a weaver? One who weaves cloth. He sat whole day and weaved cloths and sang. And his songs were songs of wisdom. The Song of Solomon. It was the Song of Wisdom or the Song of David. And he said something very interesting. He said the human state is like that of the musk deer. Have you heard of a musk deer? In India it's called Kasturi Mriga, musk deer. You know what is musk, right? You have it in all perfumes. So, the musk deer is a very small sized deer that lives in the Himalayan steppes. And in a certain season, there is a little pouch under his belly which exudes, which produces musk. Not all the time. Sometimes. Now, the musk deer lives in the Himalayan foothills, and every year, in a certain season, musk is produced in the pouch, which is under its belly button. And when the beautiful fragrance fills the air, the poor deer, not knowing the source of the fragrance, goes looking for it everywhere in the forest. Pokes his snout into thorny bushes, bleeds, but still doesn't know that the source of the fragrance is under my belly button. Kabir Das, this weaver saint, said, this is the problem with us human beings. The source of all joy and happiness is here, and we are looking for it there. So, this completeness that we are, which is legitimate to look for expansion, to become complete, to grow, there's nothing wrong with that. It's quite legitimate. But we should understand that ultimate completeness and ultimate happiness, ultimate satisfaction can never come as long as the senses are looking for it outside. You can only turn in, perhaps you will hit upon the source. Perhaps. Because there are many conditions to be fulfilled before we can really look in. The mind is so naughty that it won't let you turn back. It's always going out. It's okay. There's a normal condition of the senses that they are not easy to pull back and turn the thing. Right? So, if you need to look at any physical or scientific theory that is close to what we discuss now, you need to look at Einstein. When Einstein said that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it remains constant, we can also say in this regard that this ultimate energy called the Brahman, you know, the word Brahman comes from the root Brah in Sanskrit, which means ever expanding. It doesn't stop, it ever expands. If you apply this rule or this scientific theory that energy can be neither created nor destroyed, you'll find this Poornata which we are talking about, which is the essence of this universe, which is the source from which we come, and which is also in us when everything is quiet. Then you know what it means. It can only be changed from one form to another. It cannot be increased or decreased. It is constant. So, is this merely a theory, or is there some way of touching that completeness in us? Second question. Corollary to the first statement. Yes, say the rishis, you and I can surely touch it. You don't need special robes to touch it. You don't need to behave in strange ways to touch it. You will only to get this thought in mind that what I am seeking for outside actually exists within me. So turn in and look for the jewel in the lotus. You know the famous Buddhist mantra? Om Mani Padme Hum. It means Om, jewel at the lotus. Hum. No, Om and Hum are two sounds, not really words but sounds. We'll go into that. Now, since I said Om, we're going to look at the meaning of the word Om. Many of you know that Om consists of 3 syllables, with A, O and Ma and so on. Many people, common knowledge I think nowadays. And that A represents the creation and O represents the preservation of what is created, and the last Ma, which is Om, represents destruction. When I say Om, If I need to make a new sound, I need to open my mouth again. So what I said is finished there, and then it begins again. So this whole transmigration of birth, preservation and death is represented by the sound Om. Well, that's one side of the story. There is, you must have heard of the Upanishads, right? No? Yes. Now the Upanishads are the essence of Vedic knowledge. They come at the end of the Vedas, therefore they are called Vedanta, end of the Vedas. And they are the jewels of wisdom, the essence of all the teachings of the ancient Vedas. Where would you find it? You would find them in the Upanishads. Now, there are many Upanishads, but before we go into this, you will get your Kriya, don't worry, I'm not diverting. We need to have a background, right, to where we are going. Simply sitting down, breathing up and down is of no use. Why are we doing all this? Anyway, we'll come to that. So, and if you have questions, I'm going to discuss with you. Don't worry about that. But the questions shouldn't be longer than the answers. Upanishad. There are 11 principal Upanishads and so many other Upanishads. In fact, there are a body of literature called the Yoga Upanishads, which are about 20 in number, in which you find the earliest mention of yogic practices. And they come from the Krishna Yajurveda, so the second Veda, Rig Veda, Yajurveda. It's not as if yoga has come only with Patanjali, it's there much before, from the Vedic period, from the Upanishad. But we are here concerned with one of the Upanishads, which is among the most ancient principal Upanishads, which are 11 in number, and on which all the acharyas have written commentaries. I mean, all the teachers have written commentaries, starting with Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, and so on, and many others. Now, among these, today I want to pick up, because it concerns what we are going to study, where we are going to go, what we are looking for. And this is actually the shortest Upanishad in the 11 principal Upanishads. It is very ancient. Adi Shankara's great teacher Gaudapada wrote a commentary on it, which runs into several pages. Shankara wrote a commentary on it which runs into several thousand pages, and so on and so forth. If you start studying, then we study all our lives, or maybe we come back again next life and continue to study. So, I'm trying to simplify as much as possible so that in this life we understand going on. Leave alone next life. Who knows where we are going to come, or when we are going to come, or if you are going to come at all. Maybe after the workshop you will stop the cycle of life and death and not come. You miss the Upanishads. So, who knows? You can never say. So, this is a Upanishad with only 12 verses. It's the Mandukya Upanishad. It has only 12 verses. And in these 12 verses, there are no do's and don'ts. There are no what you should not be doing. It's merely a deep, in-depth discussion on human states of consciousness. So, the Upanishad begins by saying that Om, normally the explanation for Om is what we discussed sometime back: creating, preserving, destroying. Generating, operating, destroying. It sounds familiar, right? Generating, G, operating, O, destroying, D. Does it sound familiar? Okay. So here the Upanishad describes Om, again in 3 syllables. But at the first letter A, the first sound, as being a symbol of the waking state, which is common to all human beings. I hope we are awake. Common to all human beings, the waking state. I don't have to explain what is the waking state if you are awake now. Common to all human beings. East to west, north to south, dark or fair, man or woman. We all, at least sometimes in our life, are awake. Maybe 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day, doesn't matter. Now, the next state, represented by the sound O, A, U, the Mandukya Upanishad says, represents the dream state, which again is common to all human beings. We all dream. Night dreams, day dreams. Here the reference is to the night dreams, not the day dreams. Now this swapna or dream state, which of course is a common experience of all of us, deserves a little bit of close examination. It is an interesting state. Why? Because when you are actually dreaming, you will not admit that you are dreaming. When you wake up, oh, that was a dream, right? Suppose you're dreaming, and that's they don't have it here. I have a hideout near the forest in India where there are leopards. So suppose you're dreaming and that there's a leopard chasing you. Now, do you think that it's a dream, or are you running? You're running because the leopard is chasing you. And then you wake up and you say, oh my God, that was a dream. God, there's no leopard. But you still look to see if there's anywhere around. And you're perspiring and your heartbeat is still very fast even after you wake up. It has such a profound effect because in the dream you thought it was real. When you woke up, it became a dream. This is a state which is very interesting, which is common to all human beings. Now, the wise men of ancient times said, since in the dream you didn't know that it was a dream, what if you're dreaming now? You'll never admit that it's a dream unless you wake up. And what is the waking up from this dream? Well, this is an extended, long dream. And there is a lot of difference between the ordinary dream and this. I'm not saying it's a dream, please. I'm just giving you an example. The difference is, if I'm M today, I dream that I'm Jay and I'm fiddling with the knobs of the sound system and so on. But when I wake up, I'm back to M, right? But that continuity is not there in the dream. Every day, every dream you can be different. This continuity doesn't come. That's the difference. Apart from that, there is no difference. And if I have, suppose I had a long dream, I continue to think that I am what's happening in the dream as a reality. Because only when I wake up I see that it's an illusion. I mean, it's a dream. So what was I saying? Please tell me. Are you in the waking state or dream state? Waking. What was I saying?
They're saying if the actual dream, when we dream, it doesn't continue for long. And I suppose one day we actually come to know that this what we are here.
Suppose.
Suppose, yes. and we realize that this is actually a dream.
Yes, suppose.
Suppose.
We haven't.
Yeah.
So, one day you stretch your hands and say, oh my God, what a long dream. And wake up to some other reality. Possible. If it can be possible in the dream to waking, it is possible this way too. You know, there was an ancient king called Janaka, who was supposed to be the father of Sita, king of Vidya. The same thing happened to him. He fell asleep one day. Your Padmasana is perfect. Is it Padmasana or Siddhasana? Okay. My mind works this, it's fuzzy logic kind of thing. Go straight. Anyway. So, Janaka fell asleep and I thought I forgot. And then he realized, he dreamt that he was a beggar. He was starving. No food, shivering in the cold, lying on the floor. And then it was a fairly long dream. He was suffering and then he woke up. He woke up and he found that he was in the palace, beautiful bed, all well. And then came his guru. His guru, his teacher, was the great sage Yajnavalkya, who appears in many Upanishads, especially the Brihadaranyaka. And he asked him with folded hands, Sir, please tell me, am I a beggar or am I a king? Which is correct? Because I believed that I was a beggar till now, a long time. I went through all the emotions of hunger and pain and deprivation and cold, and now I find that I am in a beautiful bed, everything is okay. Really, am I a king or am I a beggar? What if my dream had stretched for a very long time? What would have happened? So, the great sage Yajnavalkya then describes to him, look, these are relative states. Dream is real when you're dreaming. Waking state is real when you're awake. When you're in dream state, the waking state does not exist. So they're relative. Being relative states, they're not absolute. Then what is absolute? Yajnavalkya said, the witness which was there during the dream, and also the same witness who is now watching you in your waking state, that witness is real, while the states are relative and therefore not absolutely real. Relatively real. The only reality is the witness that has been experiencing this. And that witness is you. The true you. The real you. The essence of your being. Okay, so we go back to the Upanishad. So the Mandukya Upanishad says waking state, dream state, and the third common state we all human beings experience, can you tell me? Sleep. If I get a little boring or if I drone on, you might get into that state. Deep sleep. Now look at this deep sleep. It's a very interesting state. Everybody sleeps. In fact, if you don't sleep, you go mad. Most medicine sold in the market are putting you to sleep. Right? Many people can't sleep without popping a pill. Some people substitute that, of course, the spirit that comes in the bottle. That's also a spirit. You can't sleep without that. So anyway, sleep is so important to us. And what happens during sleep? Why is it that when we sleep and wake up, we are rejuvenated? Why is it that when we wake up after a good, deep sleep, we are full of energy and we can do more things? And if you are sleepless for a long time, you become nervous wrecks. Why? Because in deep sleep, you don't even know who you are. There is no cognition outside of the outside world. The Upanishad describes it beautifully. I'm just putting it in English. And there is also no inner cognition. There is no outer cognition. There is no inner cognition. Everything is quiet. I don't even know, the boss who heads the company or the industry sleeps. And the man who stands at the door, security man, he also sleeps. When you're asleep, both are equal. He may sleep on a luxurious bed, the other guy may sleep on a bench. They're both sleeping. And in sleep, we are all equal. Right? Like now we are having a talk. I'm sitting on a slightly raised platform. Thank God it's not too high. But after an hour, if there is a break, and if you all go to the bathroom, to the washroom, I'm also there. We are equal. In the same way. Sleep equalizes everybody. When you're asleep, you don't know if you're the boss, the employer or the employed, teacher or the taught. Everything is finished. So this is a state where there is complete rest. But please remember that if after a real good sleep, this real deep sleep is so blissful that you don't want to wake up. You might keep an alarm. How many times have you switched it off and gone back to sleep? Many times. Why? Reluctantly you want to get out of it because it is so blissful, so wonderful, so beautiful, no worries, no problem. Which means that even though at that moment you don't realize it, even in deep sleep there is a witness who is enjoying the deep sleep. Otherwise, why would I wake up and say, oh, that was a blissful sleep? Who was experiencing it? There was somebody. You're not aware of it then. When you wake up, sometimes you get aware of this just before you're going into sleep or just before you're waking up in the border, the twilight zone. There is a blissful presence which is watching everything and enjoying. But in deep sleep, generally, you don't feel your identity. It's all finished, rubbed off. Now the Upanishad says, A, U and Ma represent waking, dream and deep sleep. Now, it doesn't end there. When you chant Om, when you pronounce the word Om, it's like Om. It doesn't end abruptly. There is what you call in Sanskrit ardhamatra, half letter, the sound that vibrates and continues, like ringing of a bell that continues even after you have rung the bell. In the same way, Om. Now that fading away, which is somewhere between audible sound and inaudible sound, the Upanishad says is what is known as Turiya. So what is Turiya then? Turiya is the witness of all the three states which does not get transformed into any of the states, but as a pure witness watches everything. This state of watching is Turiya. And that, say the sages in the Upanishad, is the essence of your being. And when you have caught it, when you have touched it, then you're free of the likes and dislikes, pains and sorrows, also the little happiness that happens in the other states. You're free of all this. Why? Because intrinsically by nature you are bliss. There's no need to get anything to experience bliss, but when everything is settled down, intrinsically your true nature is blissful. This is Turiya. This is what the Mandukya, and then it stops, that's it. 12 slokas and it is finished, and it says, okay, now you go home and think. Also understand that it is beyond thought. Think, but understand that it is beyond thought. Because as long as thought is in there, it cannot be. Because thought is always divisive. Thought thinks always of you and me, not as one. You and me are there, we are divided already. We are like the divided nations, not United Nations, divided nations. So, this bringing together of understanding can't happen to one just theoretically. Theoretically I can say all this, but that witness can't be found unless the ordinary mind expands and breaks free of all its conditioning. And the process by which it's made to break free of all conditioning is called yoga. Well, many of you must have heard of the Bhagavad Gita, right? The Bhagavad Gita, at the end of each chapter, there is a statement made which says, this is the Bhagavad Gita, it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And what does it teach? Upanishads. So it is the teaching of the Upanishads. And what does the Upanishad teach? Brahma Vidyayam, the knowledge of the Supreme Being, or the understanding of the Supreme Being. And then there is one word important, Yoga Shastra. It's also the science by which you can touch that infinite being. How? By deconditioning yourself from the conditioned thought that has been built into our system from birth onwards, or perhaps even before birth, through other births, past, if you believe in past birth. To break that conditioning and prepare the instrument to receive the understanding of the Supreme, you require yoga. Otherwise the word Yoga Shastra will not be put in there. As I can say, oh, I am the Brahman. Makes no difference. I said it, but it doesn't mean anything. It's a word, a sentence. But through yoga, you learn how to calm and quieten your mind, how to balance your energies which are in your system, so that when they are in perfect balance, when the mind is quiet and calm and without, as Patanjali described, yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the stopping of the movement of the vrittis of the mind, which means all distractions. Distractions generally waste your energy. All tensions, all distractions, all opposites, when all these are destroyed, or let's not use the word destroyed, it sounds very destructive. When all these come to an end, then one understands the essence of one's being. The yogis might call it Purusha, the Vedantins might call it the Brahman, the Buddhists might call it Nirvana. But the state where the mind has absolutely ceased to have any distractions, when your pranas or life energies are completely balanced, then you come upon that essence which the Upanishad calls Turiya, which is the essence of your being. And it is nowhere to be looked for except inside you, because you are the essence of your being. This is the teaching. So therefore, when we do Kriya Yoga, we are trying to bring the pranas in a certain way. We are trying to balance the Ida and the Pingala, and we are trying to fix the prana in the main channel called the Sushumna, so that gradually the mind is deconditioned and you're open to greater realities. This is why one does Kriya. It need not be just Kriya, it can be any yogic practice, any yogic sadhana that has been given to you, because Kriya simply means a practice, not necessarily any brand. Sleep state. So, I hope you got what I'm trying to convey in some way. Yes? You look so serious, young lady, I don't know if you... Young lady. So, you're also young, sorry. So now, in this 1 hour that we have discussed, do you have any questions?
So my question is, it's just an interesting one really. Why did Maheshwarnath Babaji, why did he seemed not to sleep? I'm curious about that. I need to sleep, unfortunately, but I'm curious that he didn't seem to need to sleep. Thank you.
Everybody needs to sleep, actually. But a person who has reached a yogic state, where his body and mind are perfectly at rest even while he's awake, need not sleep. I mean, he does away with the need to sleep. Because, you know why I said before, why do we sleep? Because sleep rejuvenates us. Because in sleep we are totally relaxed. In sleep we don't have any problems. We leave them behind. You sleep and then you wake up and get them back, of course. But then you leave them behind. But suppose a person is completely free of all this, then the necessity of sleep does not arise for such a person. And he may lie down and sleep if he wants, but he doesn't have to sleep. And as far as Maheshwarnath Babaji was concerned, since he did not need to sleep, as far as his body's needs were concerned, he was awake because he was doing various things. You know, we usually waste about 12 hours or 8 hours every day, I mean, in one sense, not doing it. And his job, what he wanted to do, was tremendous. So, since he did not need to sleep, he utilized that time to do that kind of work. And also worked on people like me, who have to be thrown into this world like scapegoats to do various things. So, this is the reason. He didn't need to sleep. Maximum I have seen sometimes is after a very long walk, he might lean against the wall or a pillar or the walls of the cave and just sit this way. That's all. The eyes were also not closed. This I have seen, but I have not seen. Beyond that, I don't.
Pranam Guruji. Basically, I wanted to ask a question on the states of awareness, the Jagrut, Swapnavastha and Sushupti, and after that Turiya. What happens when a person dies? Let's say, as soon as the person dies, what state is he in or she in? Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that when a person dies, the last thought is the seed for the next birth. So, how does this work at that point of time? Thank you.
Now, the second question which you asked, what state one is when one dies, is a very simple question. I mean, most of us, if you are not in a coma, are awake when we die. We are not in deep sleep or in dream state, or in Turiya, of course. We are in the waking state, and we are conscious that we are going to die, unless we are sick and we are in some kind of a half-conscious state or something. Otherwise we are awake, we are in the waking state. Now to the second question which you said. In the Gita, Krishna says that you attain what you thought at the last moment of your departure from this body. There are two questions here actually. One is, it's very difficult to think of spiritual awareness if all your life you are thinking of something else. It's not possible at the moment of death to hold on to this desire to become free, to get moksha. Because whatever thought were going through your mind throughout your life, they always come uppermost. There is a story there was a guy who wanted to get moksha. And he decided that he would light a lamp before a picture of Narayana and keep looking at that when he died. Narayana is one of the manifestations of divinity in the Hindu system of thought. And so he said Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. He was about to die. He knew he was going to die. The body was failing. But all his life, so there was an oil lamp burning. So all his life, he had built up his entire life on oil business, manufacturing and selling oil. So the last moment, he suddenly realized that the wick was dying away. So instead of saying Narayana, he said, pour some more oil, the wick has to light up. The story is that he was born as a wick. I mean, this is just a story. What I'm trying to say, the whole idea is that whatever you think of in your normal daily life is the only thing you can think of when you depart. So therefore, cultivate the habit of wanting to have moksha throughout your life so that when you're going, that thought will be uppermost in your mind. You get what I hope you got. It's difficult to bring that thought independent of the other thoughts that are in our mind. So a constant application to this freedom that I want moksha should be there in the mind even daily when you're living in this world, doing your day-to-day activities, so that at that last point there's only thought that remains in your mind. If one wants moksha. If not, yesterday I said, there are some people who don't want to have moksha, they want to come back again. Okay, fine. Good deal.
Pranam sir, I'm very nervous to speak in front of you.
Why? Do I look dangerous?
You're in Jesus. Okay, my question is about dream. I dream a lot. I get dreams every night. I see many things and they look very realistic to me. And as you said, we are just the witness of dreams. So should we interpret from those dreams if we are going through a situation and we have dream about it. So do we have to interpret it because it is something personal, I have you in my dreams many times and you have showed me direction. So do you actually come and visit me or anyone sitting out here? Or
I check my diary now. May I say something? Well, it's okay if you dream about me. Sometimes I may not be aware of that also. It's quite possible. But then if it's giving you a good direction, then it's a good thing, it's okay. But don't think that every time you dream I'm there, then I won't get time to sleep. So it's not like that. It's not a bad thing. But you don't have to keep interpreting your dreams. Just leave them as they are. Because we are living in a greater dream. We should get out of this, right? At some point. So if you give too much importance to the dream, then you are trying to stall your getting out of the bigger dream. If you want to. If you are happy with the dream, then it is okay. I keep coming. Maybe when you go to sleep, you are thinking of me, so you see me. It may be your own mind. Right? But even if it's your own mind, it's better to see me in your own mind, perhaps. I'm a good man, okay? Rather than some kind of a devil-like thing which disturbs your mind. This at least helps you to feel peaceful, right? So that's okay. But I can't guarantee that every time you have a dream, I'm coming. I don't know. Also, it's a wrong thing to say because then everybody would expect to.
Pranam Guruji, two things based on what we are talking right now. So we all know that okay, past birth, future birth, it comes with some karmas and some things.
Absolutely.
How was the first birth when it happened? From where did that karma come? Second thing, you were talking about Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, which we will be doing. If one of them is not working right now, then will it be a problem in this session?
Shall I answer your second question first?
Yeah.
I said Ida Pingala, by which I mean that the prana in the body moves through many channels. Of them, the most important one is the left and the right, which is the Ida and the Pingala. And the central channel, which we call the Sushumna. So the idea is, in Kriya or any other Kriya, not only this Kriya, the yogic technique is to get the energies from the Ida and Pingala balanced and make them move on the Sushumna. So, I have to get a little clarification on what you mean by if only one nadi is working, what does that mean?
This is little blocked, so should I put some nasal drop on the right side?
It's not a bad idea because it's always good to have both the nadis balanced. However, even naturally, every 32 minutes, according to Swara Shastra, it shifts from right to left or left to right. You may not notice it so much unless your nose is blocked, but it does. The best way to find out is if you hold something that's nice, like a glass piece under your nose and breathe out. You see two blobs of vapor. Usually one will be either one, bigger than the other. That means that is now predominating. It is normal. It happens to all. So the whole practice is to make it balanced. Practice of Brahman. Both are closed. So, if there is a yogic way of opening your nostrils, if your right one is closed and you want to open it, the yogic method is to lie down on your left side for some time. Whichever nostril you need to open, which you think is closed, lie on the opposite side. Rest your head on hands and lie on the other side, and in 2 minutes you will see the other one is functioning. The opposite side. Yes. Now to your first question. You know, nobody can say the origin of when the karmas came or how they came. We must also remember, while we live on this earth, this may not be the first time that we are coming in. There are so many other planets and other planes of existence from which we are coming down to the earth. So we don't know when it started. It could have started in some other realm. First karma, first seed of karma. Okay. However, That we cannot find the source at this stage of existence does not mean that it is not there. What you have is what you have now. If you work on that and develop and expand your mind, perhaps you can find the source. This is a famous story from the Buddha's life. Somebody went into a mango garden, plucked mangoes. And an invisible man, a hunter, who was not visible, shot an arrow. The arrow hit him. He was in pain. Now the question the Buddha asked was, because somebody asked him, what is the origin of it? So the question is, lying down with the arrow in your heart, with the pain that's happening, what would one do first? What is the first step? Find ways and means to remove the arrow, get rid of the pain, or will you lie down there and think who sent the arrow, where did it come from? What is the source of this? Because by the time you finish finding the source, even in your mind, you might develop gangrene and die. So, instead of trying to look for that source, it's also, the source of all things is sometimes not easy for the ordinary mind to understand. So make your mind extraordinary, perhaps then, so what do? Develop ways and means to expand your mind. Otherwise, it's a very nice, beautiful question, innocent question, like a child who said to his parents, Mama, Dad, you love me the best, right? Yes, we love you the most. Really you love me the most? Yes, then why didn't you invite me for your wedding? This is an impossible question. You know what I mean? You can't deny that they love the child, but they cannot invite it for the wedding. It's not possible, a child cannot conceive of that. So therefore, keep working on your mind till it expands, so one day you might discover. Problem is, if you have discovered the source, you will find it very difficult to explain it to somebody else. This is the problem. And if you can't do the yogic exercise, and if you want to open Ida or Pingala, there is no harm in nasal drops. Last, they are much more easier to get than to lie down. But then it will become a chemical habit, and every time you have to open, you have to put drops. This is the problem.